My husband's ex-wife tried to sabotage our marriage with lies, but when I exposed her insane obsession, she lost everything. I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but here we are. I'm 32F, and I've been married to my husband, Matt, 34M, for 2 years now. He's the love of my life, the kindest, most patient man I've ever met. But if there's one thing I didn't anticipate when we got married, it was the absolute nightmare that is his ex-wife, Vanessa. To be fair, I knew she existed. I mean, obviously. Matt had been married before, but their divorce was finalized years before we even met. He always said their marriage wasn't great. They were young, rushed into things, and by the end, they were more like bitter roommates than a couple. According to Matt, the divorce was mutual. No kids, no messy legal battles, just two people who had nothing left to give each other. Or so I thought. Vanessa was always in the background. When Matt and I first started dating, she was just a name he occasionally mentioned. Oh yeah, Vanessa and I used to go to that restaurant. Or, Vanessa never liked dogs, so I never got one. Little things, nothing that set off alarms. Then when we got engaged, she became something else. It started subtly, random texts, a casual, "Hey, I heard you're getting married, congrats," message that didn't seem weird at first. But then she'd follow up with something passive-aggressive like, "I hope she understands how much you hate it when people leave dishes in the sink." I brushed it off as weird ex-wife behavior. But then things escalated. A few weeks before our wedding, she showed up at Matt's office. Just showed up like it was totally normal. He came home that night looking tense, but when I asked about it, he waved it off. "Vanessa just wanted to talk," he said. "She's going through a rough time." I should have asked more questions. I should have pushed. But I trusted Matt. I didn't think Vanessa was a threat, just a lingering annoyance. The night before our wedding, I got my first real taste of just how far she was willing to go. I was at the hotel with my bridesmaids, enjoying a quiet night before the big day, when my phone rang. It was an unknown number. I wouldn't have answered, but something in my gut told me to pick up. "Hello?" There was a pause, then a woman's voice. "Are you sure you want to marry Matt?" I sat up straight, my stomach twisting. "Who is this?" Another pause, then, "It doesn't matter. What matters is that he's been lying to you." I should have hung up. I wanted to, but I couldn't. Lying about what? I forced myself to stay calm. She sighed dramatically, like she was doing me a favor by even calling. "He's still sleeping with his ex-wife." I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. My heart pounded. My hands went clammy. "What?" "You heard me." There was a rustling sound, like she was flipping through something. "Vanessa and Matt have been seeing each other for months. He's been telling her he regrets everything, that marrying you is a mistake. He spent the night with her last weekend." That's when I knew. I recognized her voice. It was Vanessa. A slow, simmering rage replaced the panic. "Vanessa, I know it's you." She hesitated for just a second before laughing. "Does it really matter? You're about to marry a liar." I gripped the phone so tightly my knuckles turned white. "You're full of shit." "Oh, honey," she cooed. "Check his messages. Go on. See for yourself." I almost did. Almost let her get into my head. Almost let her poison me against Matt. Instead, I hung up and called him immediately. He answered on the first ring. "Hey, everything okay?" I didn't even think. "Did you sleep with Vanessa last weekend?" There was a long, stunned silence. Then, "What?" "Vanessa just called me," I said, my voice shaking. "She told me you've been seeing her behind my back." Jesus Christ. He let out a heavy breath. "Are you serious right now? She said you were with her last weekend, that you told her marrying me was a mistake." More silence. Then a bitter laugh. "Last weekend? You mean when I was literally with you the entire time?" I blinked. "What?" "Babe, last weekend we went to your parents' house. We had dinner with them, and then we came home and watched that stupid reality show you love." His voice was rising now, a mix of anger and frustration. "You know where I was." And suddenly, I did. I had been with him the entire weekend. Vanessa had lied. She hadn't even tried to make the story believable. She just threw out an accusation and hoped I'd fall for it. I felt sick. Matt must have realized I wasn't speaking because his voice softened. "Babe, listen to me. I don't know what Vanessa told you, But I swear to you, I haven't seen her. She showed up at my office once, yeah, but I told her to leave. That's it. I swallowed hard. I believe you. And I did. Because in that moment, I realized something. Vanessa wasn't just some bitter ex. She was trying to ruin our wedding, and I had no idea how far she was willing to go. The morning after that phone call, I woke up with a pit in my stomach. I wanted to believe Vanessa was done, that her pathetic attempt to sabotage my wedding was her last desperate grasp at control. But deep down, I knew better. She wasn't going to stop. I didn't tell Matt right away, but I couldn't shake this gnawing feeling that Vanessa had something else planned. So I did what any rational person would do. I started digging. I went through my social media, looking for any sign that she'd been snooping. Sure enough, she had. Vanessa wasn't just following my public posts. She had gone back and liked old pictures of Matt and me, ones from our first year of dating. That was weird enough, but what really sent a chill down my spine was that she had also started following my friends. People she had no connection to. My bridesmaids, my co-workers, even my cousin. Why? Because she was looking for cracks, weak points, people she could manipulate. And I found out exactly how far she was willing to go later that afternoon when I got a text from my maid of honor, Sarah. Sarah, hey, I need to talk to you. It's about Vanessa. I called her immediately. What happened? Sarah sighed. You're not going to believe this, but she messaged me twice. She said she had proof that Matt was cheating and that I should convince you to call off the wedding. I closed my eyes, inhaling sharply. Did she send anything? No, Sarah said. She just said she had proof, but when I asked her to send it, she kept making excuses. She told me to meet her in person instead. That made my skin crawl. Please tell me you didn't go. Sarah scoffed. Of course not. I told her if she had actual proof, she should just send it. She got mad and blocked me. I sat down on the edge of my bed, my head spinning. She's trying to turn people against Matt. Yeah, Sarah said. And if she messaged me, she probably messaged other people too. I didn't even hesitate. I started calling my other bridesmaids one by one, and just like I suspected, Vanessa had reached out to 3 of them. Always the same vague message. Matt was lying, he was unfaithful, she had proof, but she would only show it in person. And when they refused to meet her, she either blocked them or lashed out, calling them blind and stupid for believing I had a perfect relationship. It was sick. But what really made my blood boil was when I found out she had contacted my mother. I was sitting on my couch, my phone burning in my hands when Mum called me. Sweetheart, I just got the strangest message from Matt's ex-wife. My stomach dropped. What did she say? She said she needed to talk to me about something important before the wedding. That it was about Matt. I gritted my teeth. And? I told her if she had something to say, she could say it over the phone. Mum continued, her voice sharp. She refused, said it had to be in person, and when I told her I wasn't interested, she started getting emotional. That surprised me. Emotional how? She said she just couldn't stand by and let me watch my daughter marry a man who wasn't who he claimed to be. Mum scoffed. Honestly, she sounded unhinged. Unhinged. That was the word I had been avoiding, but my mother was right. Vanessa wasn't just bitter. She wasn't just angry. She was obsessed. I hung up and immediately called Matt. She messaged my mother. Matt let out a slow breath. Jesus Christ. She's trying to ruin this wedding. I clenched my jaw. I need to know everything, Matt, everything. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, I'll be home in 10 minutes. When he walked through the door, I could tell he was stressed. He ran a hand through his hair and sat down beside me. I need to be honest with you about something, he said carefully. I braced myself. Okay. I think I underestimated Vanessa. No kidding. I always knew she was manipulative, he continued, but I didn't think she'd go this far. She's always been a liar, but I didn't realize how much he sighed, shaking his head, how much she still wants control over my life. I crossed my arms. Then tell me everything. He did. Turns out Vanessa had never really accepted their divorce. She agreed to it, sure, but only because she thought it would make Matt miss her. She had assumed that once he was free, he'd realize how much he needed her. But he never did. Instead, he moved on, he met me, he built a new life, and Vanessa couldn't handle it. She was fine when I was single. Matt admitted. Or at least, she didn't pull this kind of shit. But when I started dating you, that's when it changed. I swallowed. She hates me. Matt exhaled sharply. Yeah, she does. We sat there in silence for a moment. Then I said, I don't think she's done. Matt nodded grimly. Neither do I. And we were right, because the next day, I got the email. It was from an unknown address, but the subject line made my stomach lurch. I thought you should know. I hesitated before opening it. And when I did, my blood ran cold. Attached were screenshots of text messages. Messages that looked like they were between Matt and Vanessa. Flirty conversations, late-night messages, plans to meet up, and one particularly text from Matt's number that read, I miss you. I don't think I can go through with this wedding. I stared at the screen, my vision blurring with rage. Fake. It had to be fake. But Vanessa wasn't just trying to get inside my head anymore. She was trying to destroy my marriage before it even started, and I was done playing nice. I stared at the email, my heart pounding in my ears. The messages looked real. Matt's name, his number, timestamps that lined up with nights I remembered him being home late from work. If I hadn't known better, if I hadn't seen the way Vanessa operated, I might have believed them. But I did know better, and that's what made me furious. I called Matt immediately. The second he picked up, I said, check your email, right now. He must have heard something in my voice, because he didn't question it. I heard him tapping on his keyboard, then silence. A long, heavy silence. Then finally, a low, bitter laugh. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I muttered, rubbing my temples. She's escalating. Matt let out a slow breath. You don't believe this, do you? If I did, I wouldn't be calling you. I'd be throwing your out of the house. That got a weak chuckle out of him, but I could tell he was shaken. These are fake, he said, like he was still processing it. I mean, obviously, but she actually went through the trouble of faking text messages? She's unhinged, Matt, and she's not stopping. He was quiet for a moment. We need to go to the police. I hesitated. For what? She hasn't technically done anything illegal. Harassment, defamation, his voice hardened. She's trying to ruin our lives. He was right. But before we could even figure out a plan, Vanessa made her next move. The first sign that something was off came that evening when I got a text from my coworker, Jenna. Jenna. Hey, are you okay? Me. Yeah, why? Jenna. I don't know if I should be the one to tell you this, but Vanessa messaged me. I froze. Me. Wait. What? What did she say? Jenna. She said she needed to warn me about Matt, that he's been cheating on you and that you were too blind to see it. I gritted my teeth so hard my jaw ached. Me. Did she send anything? Jenna. Screenshots of texts. Looked fake as hell, but I figured I should tell you. Me. Thank you. If she messages you again, block her. Jenna. Already did. She's insane. I put my phone down, my hands shaking. She's messaging my coworkers now. Matt, who had been pacing across the living room, stopped in his tracks. Are you serious? Yeah. I exhaled sharply. Jenna blocked her, but who knows how many other people she's contacted. Matt swore under his breath. That's it. I'm calling my lawyer. I didn't argue. If Vanessa wanted to play dirty, fine, but she wasn't going to win. The next morning, I got a call from my mum. I think you should sit down, she said carefully. My stomach dropped. What now? She sighed. Vanessa went to church last night. I blinked. Okay. And? She pulled aside several of our family friends and started crying, going on about how she still loves Matt and how she wants what's best for you, but that she can't let you walk into a marriage built on lies. I nearly threw my phone. You're kidding. I wish I was, Mum sounded furious. She made it sound like she's trying to save you, like she's some kind of saint exposing Matt's true colors. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. I bet that worked on some people. It did, Mum admitted. Your Aunt Linda called me this morning, all concerned, saying you need to reevaluate your decision. I clenched my fists. This is getting out of hand, no kidding. That was when I decided we weren't going to sit back and wait for Vanessa's next move. It was time to end this. That evening, Matt and I sat at the dining table, going over everything. I talked to my lawyer, he said. Legally, there's not much we can do yet, but we can send her a cease and desist. That's not enough. My voice was steady. She's gonna keep pushing until she ruins everything. Matt nodded grimly. Then what do you want to do? I thought for a moment. Then an idea formed. She thrives on control, I said slowly. Right now, she thinks she's in charge of the narrative. But what if we take that away from her? Matt raised an eyebrow. How? We expose her first. We spent the next few hours compiling everything. Vanessa's messages to my bridesmaids, her emails, the fake texts, her bizarre stunt at church, every shred of evidence proving that she was the liar, not Matt. Then I called my best friend, Sarah. You still have that cousin who works in media? She laughed. Oh my God, are we about to go nuclear? Yes, we are. Sarah's cousin ran a small but popular online news site that specialized in local stories. Nothing huge, but big enough that people would notice. I explained the situation to her, and within minutes, she was all in. This is gold, she said. I'll put something together. The next morning, the headline went live. Scorned ex-wife's attempt to ruin marriage backfires spectacularly. It wasn't overly dramatic or tabloid-like. It was factual, straightforward. A timeline of Vanessa's actions, the lies she had spread, and the growing evidence that she was obsessed with destroying Matt's life. And people ate it up. By noon, the article had been shared hundreds of times. Comments flooded in, some from people who had encountered Vanessa before, others from strangers who were just baffled by how far she had gone. Then came the real kicker. Someone, not us, sent the article to Vanessa's job. She worked as a realtor, meaning her reputation mattered. By the afternoon, she had deleted every social media account. By the evening, we got a call from a mutual acquaintance. Vanessa just lost her job. I didn't feel bad, not even a little. The next day, I got one final email. It was from Vanessa. All it said was, "You ruined my life." I stared at it for a long moment before closing my laptop. No, Vanessa, you ruined your own life. And now finally you had to live with the consequences. It took a few weeks for things to settle after Vanessa's downfall, but when they did, it was like a weight had been lifted. Matt and I could finally breathe. No more mysterious texts, no more manipulative games, no more whispers from family members who had been sucked into her lies. It was over. For a while, I kept expecting her to resurface. I thought maybe she'd try one last desperate attempt to claw her way back into Matt's life. But after she lost her job, she seemed to disappear completely. No social media, no messages, nothing. It was as if she had evaporated into thin air and, honestly, I was fine with that. Matt and I focused on rebuilding. Even though our relationship had stayed strong through everything, Vanessa's constant presence had been like a dark cloud hanging over us. Now, without her interference, we were actually able to enjoy being married. We took a trip to Hawaii, spent more time with friends who had supported us, and finally stopped feeling like we had to prove our love to anyone. But just when I thought Vanessa was out of our lives for good, she made one last attempt. 3 months after the whole mess, Matt and I were out celebrating his promotion. Dinner, drinks, just enjoying a peaceful night that we had earned. When my phone buzzed, it was a message from an unknown number. Unknown number? Can we talk? Please? I stared at the screen, a bitter laugh bubbling up in my throat. She had some nerve. Matt saw my expression and raised an eyebrow. Vanessa? I turned the phone so he could see. His jaw tightened. Block her. I almost did. I wanted to, but part of me was curious. What could she possibly want after everything? Instead of responding, I called her. She picked up on the first ring. Wow, she said, her voice quieter than I'd ever heard it. Didn't think you'd actually call. I leaned back in my chair. What do you want, Vanessa? She sighed. Look, I know I messed up. That made me snort. Messed up? You tried to destroy my marriage. Silence. Then, yeah, I did. I was thrown off. She had never actually admitted it before. I didn't say anything, just waited. I lost everything, she said after a moment. My job, my reputation, my friends don't even talk to me anymore, and, she hesitated, and it's my own fault. I didn't feel sorry for her. Not even a little. But I wasn't expecting this. She took a shaky breath. I wanted to hurt you because I didn't want to admit that Matt moved on. I thought if I could break you two up, then maybe I finished for her. Then maybe he'd come back to you. Another long pause. Yeah. It was pathetic. I wasn't sure what she wanted from me. Forgiveness? Closure? Some reassurance that she wasn't as horrible as she clearly was? But I didn't owe her anything. I don't know what you expect me to say, I told her flatly. That it's okay? That I understand? Because I don't. I know, she whispered. And I don't care what happens to you, Vanessa. You made your bed, lie in it. That was the last thing I ever said to her. I blocked her number and never looked back. After Vanessa faded into the background, things finally felt normal again. Matt and I moved forward with our lives, and for the first time since our engagement, I didn't feel like we were under attack. But the damage Vanessa had done wasn't completely gone. There were still people, friends, distant family members, who looked at Matt with doubt in their eyes. People who had believed Vanessa's lies, or at least had hesitated for a second before siding with us. It stung. One of the worst moments came when we attended a family gathering, and my Aunt Linda pulled me aside. You know, dear, she said in that tone, I still think it wouldn't hurt to, keep an eye on things. I stared at her. Excuse me? She gave me a knowing look. Men don't always change. And, well, Vanessa was so certain, I cut her off. Aunt Linda, Matt didn't do anything wrong. She sighed like she pitied me. I'm just saying, sweetheart, people don't usually lie that much, unless there's some truth to it. That's when I realized Vanessa may have lost, but she had still left her mark. It wasn't just about the fake messages or the sabotage. She had planted doubt in people's minds, and for some, that doubt stuck. I walked away from my aunt that day, and I didn't bother explaining myself, because some people don't want the truth, they just want drama. But despite the lingering whispers, Matt and I grew stronger. 6 months after Vanessa's breakdown, he surprised me with a weekend getaway to the mountains. I feel like we never really got to enjoy being married, he admitted, as we sat by the fire drinking wine. It was just one battle after another. I sighed. Yeah, but we won. He smiled, squeezing my hand. Yeah, we did. And that's when I knew Vanessa never had a chance. Because the thing about toxic people, they only have power if you let them. Matt and I didn't let her win. We stood by each other. And in the end, she lost everything, while we were still standing, stronger than ever. I used to think karma wasn't real, that people like Vanessa always got away with things. But watching her destroy herself trying to break us apart, that was all the proof I needed. Vanessa thought she could sabotage my marriage. Instead, she destroyed her own life. And I don't regret a single thing, not one.